Sarah was excited when she wrote this review. You can just tell by the way she's typing. That was a very confusing ending. I don't know what to think. I thought that I would also love the books that they read. Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to another video. We're gonna do a reading vlog this week. I'm really excited about it. I feel like I'm just always excited about any reading vlog I do, but I'm really excited about this one because, as you guys can see from the title, I'm going to be reading some of my favorite authors' favorite books. So this video is inspired by Hayley Pham. She did a video similar to this, I think a couple months ago or maybe 1 month ago. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but I remember watching Hayley do this theme of a video and I was like, I want to do that too. Basically, I am going to look at the Goodreads profiles of a few of my favorite authors, choose a book that they have rated and reviewed as 5 stars, and I'm going to read those books. Okay, now obviously, I feel like this comes with a few complications, and Hayley mentioned this in her video too, but most authors, you know, to keep their professional relationships intact and not to burn bridges, don't really give books ratings other than 5 stars. Like pretty much every author that I looked at and researched for this video gave every book that they read or every book that they rated, they gave them a 5-star review. Obviously, because, you know, authors are friends with each other, they probably don't want to do anything that will offend each other. Totally understandable. So for the purpose of this video, I just decided to only use the ratings that had actual reviews written on them because I feel like an author wouldn't like write an entire blurb about a book that they were just giving a 5-star rating to like keep a cordial working relationship with someone, you know what I mean? Like if they actually wrote something, they probably actually meant it. Hopefully. We're gonna do 3 authors, so 3 books in this video, and the first one we are going to do is Sarah J Maas, obviously, the mother herself. The first thing I noticed is Sarah J Maas is not very active on her Goodreads anymore, so this rating I found from her is from 2014, but I think it's still valid. And the book that Sarah J Maas really loved in 2014 was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is actually a book and actually a series that I have been interested in. So her review from January 12, 2014. I don't think words can properly describe how much I adored Shadow and Bone. Characters, the world building, it completely blew me away. There were moments when I was so stunned by the beauty and the brilliance that I had to stop reading. I never wanted this book to end. This is the best YA fantasy novel I have read since Sabriel or The Golden Compass. So very high praise. You can tell that this review was written like with passion. It wasn't just like, wow, this was a great book. Sarah was excited when she wrote this review. You can just tell by the way she's typing. We're gonna read Shadow and Bone, and I'm actually pretty excited about this one. I have read Six of Crows, but I haven't read this trilogy, which is like the beginning of the Grishaverse. I know a lot of people say that this trilogy, Shadow and Bone, isn't as good as Six of Crows, so I'm curious to see like why and how it's different. But I do have it ready here on my Kindle, ready to go, so let's start it.
It's a bit, I won't pretend that it doesn't matter that you're with someone else. In a way, that's how it's supposed to be. If I'm unable to make you happy, then it's for the better that you are not with me.
Hi, Jamie.
That's why
Guys, why am I loving Shadow and Bone more than Six of Crows so far? Is that controversial? I feel like that's controversial because literally every single person I talk to says Six of Crows is like way better than Shadow and Bone. But I feel like with Leigh Bardugo, I'm always like kind of with the unpopular opinion in terms of her books. Like Six of Crows I absolutely enjoyed. Like I did like those books, but they're definitely not my favorite books by her. And I feel like whenever anyone mentions Leigh Bardugo, like Six of Crows is what they talk about. But for example, like Ninth House, like I love Ninth House. That series so far is like my favorite from her. And I feel like that is so unpopular. But yeah, for some reason, I'm just getting into Shadow and Bone so much more than Six of Crows. I have it on my little Kindle stand on here because I was reading in bed last night. I am on page 109. That's 22% of the way in, according to my Kindle. I'm just so much more invested in the story and the characters already compared to the characters of Six of Crows. I also think I definitely read these in the wrong order because when I was reading Six of Crows, I feel like I didn't get enough world building. I was just kind of like thrown in and expected to understand certain words. All of that world building is done in Shadow and Bone, which on one hand makes sense because this is the trilogy that comes before Six of Crows. But if Six of Crows is being marketed as like its own standalone duology, I feel like that book should have had like its own complete set of world building. But I don't know, I'm liking this so much more, and I know that's like the unpopular opinion. I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna continue reading and we'll see how the rest of the book is. Maybe it like ends on not as much of a satisfying ending, because the Six of Crows endings were very satisfying. That's the one thing about Six of Crows. I was kind of getting bored throughout the story, but then like seeing how all the pieces fit together at the end was always really satisfying and like always really, really just like nice. We'll see how it goes, and I'm gonna keep reading.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. And I will leave my windows open so that I can...
Okay, I just finished it. I literally just finished it like 10 seconds ago. So Shadow and Bone, okay. Did I even tell you guys what this book was about? I don't think I did. Okay, so just a quick little summary. In Shadow and Bone, we are set in the Grishaverse, obviously. I think we did go over that. In this story, we follow a girl named Alina, who is an orphan. She grows up with another orphan named Mal. They're just like besties their entire life. I want to say siblings, but then it kind of gets a little bit romantic later, so not like siblings. They did not grow up like siblings. They both, at the age of like, I think it's 8 years old, is when they take like their Grisha test to see if they have any like inclination for any magical powers. They're both like categorized into the non-magical categories. So then they were sent to like the human army training camp. They get sent out into the Shadow Fold, which is like this really like dark, dangerous zone. When they get attacked, and then Alina's secret hidden powers reveal themselves. This like very powerful guy named the Darkling decides to like enlist her and use her powers for his own purposes. As I mentioned, the setup was really good in this. I finally got the world building that I have been craving this whole time from Six of Crows. I'm so happy I finally got that. The introduction of the characters and everything I thought was really strong. I was like immediately very attached to Alina and Mal. But then I feel like it kind of got weaker. Like I feel like the middle of it started dragging a little bit, and then at the end I was very confused that the book just ended. I feel like it ended very abruptly, and I know this is a trilogy, so there's like more coming, but I feel like I did not expect that moment to just like be the cutoff point. It was just like, okay, that's it. That's where they end up, and I'm like, I need like a little bit more of a conclusion. I feel like usually in series, like especially fantasy series, you usually end up at least like semi-concluded, like a portion of the journey is concluded and you can see where the rest is gonna like pick up, or you end on like a super big cliffhanger. And I feel like Shadow and Bone didn't end up on either. It was just kind of like, all right, that's it for now. See you in the next book. I do want to find out what happens to the characters next and like how the story unfolds. I guess that's a good thing. That was a very confusing ending. I don't know what to think. I feel like I was just kind of like thrust, like pushed out of the world and out of the book, and it was just like, okay, that's it. Go back to the real world now. In terms of a rating, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna give it. I think right now I'm at about a 3.5. It was fun, it was easy, it was YA, so it was like, I just like devoured it so quickly and easily. It didn't feel too YA, except for the romance. The romance was like very YA. Anyways. What author's favorite book are we going to read next? I think we need to do something more, I don't know, easygoing, maybe something more real world. Have a little palette cleanser in between there before I dive into my next fantasy. So we're gonna read one of Emily Henry's 5-star books next. This review from Emily Henry is from October 26, 2020, so it is a little bit more recent. It's not a 2014 review. The book that Emily Henry gave a 5-star rating to was Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. Really excited about this one. Actually, let's go grab it. Oh my gosh, it is hot. It is hot up here. Okay, so I do have Life's Too Short here. Emily had a lot to say about this book. She wrote this book. Right off the bat, I was hooked. Jimenez's. Why is that so hard to say? Jimenez's sense of humor, her way with language, and the nuance of her characters were clear from page 1. The book just sparkles. I'm a person who generally avoids books with strong plot lines about terminal illness. I'm not sure anyone but Jimenez could have guided me through a book with that possibility as a major component, but there was so much humor, so much sweetness and excitement and fun that I couldn't stop reading, and I'm so glad I didn't. It's giving a hard read at times, but it's also a powerful one about living your life in the now instead of the what if. It's such a timely read as we're all hanging in the balance of COVID, wondering what comes after, trying to understand how to be happy now, and I'm so grateful I got to read it. Did this book come out actually in 2020? Copyright 2021. So this came out in 2021. I'm guessing Emily Henry maybe had like an advanced copy maybe in 2020. As you could probably get from the snippets of Emily's review, this book follows Vanessa, who quits her job to pursue her dream of traveling the world and starting a YouTube channel. Go her, can definitely relate. And she's just like a live every day to its fullest type of a girly, because she does come from a family, as Emily mentioned, with a history of terminal illness. So Vanessa's just like, you know what? Anything could happen to me at any day. I'm just gonna like go out, live life to my fullest, live out my YouTube dream. Suddenly, her sister leaves Vanessa in custody of her daughter. So she goes from traveling the world to staying in one place and now taking care of a baby. A hot lawyer obviously shows up. She figures her life out from there. That is Life's Too Short. I love Abby Jimenez, as you guys know. I feel like she is just, you can't go into her books thinking they're going to be just like this super sweet, funny, chill rom-com. Under all of that like super light, fun fluff, she always does have these more like deep, emotional, trauma-filled experiences and journeys. I've had a really good experience with like everything Abby Jimenez so far, so I'm excited. Life's Too Short. We'll see if Emily was right with this one. It's been a couple of days, kind of an odd twist of events over the past couple of days, but if you did not know yet, I don't know if I have told YouTube yet by the time this video comes out, but I was just laid off yesterday. I'm trying to not make light of it, but I'm trying to see the positive side of what's happening, but it's very hard for me right now. So I apologize if this video just like took a really sad turn and it just like killed the vibe. I am just very sad right now. It happened yesterday. There was a mass layoff at my company and I was unfortunately a part of it. That being said, I just have not filmed for the past couple days because I've been sad, but I did finish reading, what is this called? Life's Too Short. I'm really confused about this book. So I gave it a 3-star on Goodreads. I don't know if it's actually a 3-star, but I just, with everything that's going on in my life right now, and then like also being a little bit torn about this book, I'm just very confused in terms of ratings and how I feel about everything. I don't want to make this video sad. Let's just talk about the books. Overall, I think this was a really good story and a really hard one to write. So I commend Abby Jimenez for like taking on something as challenging as this. I think she did a decent job at it, but I did have a couple problems. The first is that our main character, Vanessa, is an influencer, like she's a YouTuber. So I kind of know a little something about that. Not a lot, but a little bit. And the way that her like YouTube and influencer life and how she films videos and stuff, how it was written was very not genuine feeling. It's like, you know, when you're reading a book and the dialogue feels really like stiff and like not how people normally would talk. Like when you read dialogue and you're like, but no one actually talks like that. That's how the YouTuber stuff in this book felt. I was like, no one YouTubes like that. That's not how you film things. That's not how you like talk to cameras. That's not how it works. So I found that part to be a little bit like jarring to read and not authentic. I also think the third act conflict, I'm not gonna say details, but this might be a little bit spoilery, so I don't know, skip forward a little bit if you want to know nothing about this book. The third act conflict was basically caused by the MMC not knowing something about the FMC, and it was just so frustrating because I was like, this is a huge part of her life. How did you not know that? How are you like saying and claiming that you love her and like you don't know about this huge thing in her life that she actually told you? Like she told it to your face and you like gaslit her, first of all, which is like such a big issue in itself. But then like in the third act, you're like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, yes, you did. And also your like love of your life is a YouTuber. Like watch her videos. How did you like in all this time not watch her videos? I think he watched like 2 of her videos, but like how did you not do a deep dive on her and get to know her if you are literally saying that she's the love of your life? That really bugged me. I don't know why, that really bothered me. So the third act conflict and the male main character in this, I was like, I don't like you because of that. And so that was conflicting for me. But I think in terms of the overall journey and like how the story played out and how Abby Jimenez tackled the terminal illness aspect of this book was very good. I'm very confused. It's a 3-star for now. I don't know if it'll stay a 3-star, but that was Life's Too Short. And that means I didn't really love Shadow and Bone. I liked it. I didn't love it, which was Sarah J Maas's pick. And then I didn't really love Emily Henry's pick either, which means I need to go to my third mother for the third pick, and hopefully the third mother will do well for us. I am relying on 2 mothers actually because they both gave this book a 5-star on Goodreads, and that is V.E. Schwab and R.F. Kuang. V.E. Schwab actually left a review on this next book, which is the Jade City, or Jade City, not the, which is the first book in the Greenbone saga by Fonda Leigh, which is a book that I've been wanting to get into for a really long time. But Victoria, V.E. Schwab, it sounds weird saying Victoria, even though that's her name, on May 28th, 2024, so quite recently, V.E. Schwab said, "Be like Beijen, the best chapters ever written." So clearly, if V.E. Schwab is like pointing out a specific chapter that she liked, it means she really liked this book and she's not just saying this for PR. Like she really enjoyed that chapter. And then on top of that, R.F. Kuang gave Jade War, which is the second book in the series, a 5-star rating, which means R.F. Kuang loved the first book enough to continue on to the second book and then to also give it a 5-star. It just means this book is gonna be amazing. So I started this morning. I think I've read like 5 pages. I'm not like deep into it at all, but I have indeed started Jade City by Fonda Leigh, and I just hope that V.E. Schwab and R.F. Kuang are right about this one because the other 2 books were not really complete hits for me, and I was expecting great things from the recommendations of my favorite authors. Jade City, if you didn't know, is a fantasy. I think it's an urban fantasy set in a mythical world that is maybe kind of like Japanese, maybe. It's definitely Asian, but it's like Asian mafia fantasy version. I think the jade is magical in this world, and that's like what they use to harness their magic. At least that's the impression I'm getting so far after like 5 pages. But yeah, it's very like crime, mobs, mafia, but make it like Asian and throw in some magical jade in there. That's what Jade City is. I'm gonna continue reading it. I apparently have all the time in the world to read now because I don't have my job anymore. But yeah, I don't know, we'll read this and hopefully I like it. I'm gonna stop rambling, bye. Hopefully I'm not gonna be as sad in the next clip. To be determined.
Look out, here she comes, the woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be. 'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I
So
feel.
I just finished Jade City. Overall, positive experience reading this book. I think this is my favorite book out of all of the author faves that I've read this week in this video. This is definitely the top one in my opinion. I found this to be very Six of Crows-esque in terms of like the setup and the vibe. Like obviously we're talking about like street gangs, crime, like mob, mafia sort of a thing, but with more of an Asian influence. Also similar to Six of Crows in the story, there's a big emphasis on this new drug that's been developed that like sort of enhances the magical power of Jade, which is like the magic system in this world. That was funny because also very similar to Six of Crows, but where it's different is where Six of Crows is more like heist based, like more a direct quest. This is more of like an all-around political story. I think I like the vibe of this more than Six of Crows. I think the characters I connected to a lot more, like I felt a lot more empathy and like felt, yeah, just like closer to these characters. I realized this when I read Six of Crows though, and I'm realizing it again while reading this. I just don't think like the crime gang vibe is like my vibe. I don't connect to gang stories as much as like some other stories, but yeah, I feel like the characters were done really well in here, that it like kept my focus. I was more into the story than I would have been if it was just like a gang story with characters I didn't care about. The first like 30% of this book, I will say, I was like so confused. There's a lot of like terminology, naming of characters that's all like really quickly introduced to you with barely any explanation, and so I found it very hard to like keep track of like who was who, what their ranking in their job was, and like we kept switching POVs. It was very confusing for me to get into at first. It was very slow getting into it, but then once I was into it, around the 30% mark, it got good. Like once I started understanding what was going on. This book was high stakes, like characters actually died, and I kind of love that in a story. And then yeah, the chapter Be Like Beijing, which is the one that V. Schwab mentioned in her review, saying like that chapter was amazing. I agree, it was probably the best chapter in the entire book, and it is near the end of the book, so you have to work towards it to get that payoff, but it's so good. I'm glad I read this. I don't know if I'm immediately itching to pick up the sequel because again, like I feel like I'm just not like a crime mob girly. But overall, positive experience. I think this book was really good. It was maybe a little too long. I think maybe like a few of the middle sections could have been cut shorter, edited down a little bit more, but overall a positive experience. That was me reading some of the 5-star books from my favorite authors. I'm really surprised at like how mixed I was in terms of the reviews this week. I thought I was going to love everything because obviously like my favorite authors have good taste, like they write the books that I love. So I thought that I would also love the books that they read. Maybe it's not the case. I didn't hate any of the books this week, but none of them like reached my 5-star tier. I think that's it for this video. I'm gonna leave you guys here for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know who your favorite author is of all time, your absolute favorite author. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!